What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is your review for Ready to Love Season 7, Episode 12. So the men are in charge. It is a female elimination, and Tommy says it's time for you to introduce your significant other to your family, right? Let your family help you make this final decision on how you're going to do this whole situationship down to the Ready to Love, right? So we're down to the final guys. We have Anthony, Andre, Tony, and Mark Anthony. So we're down to the final four, and then we have 5 ladies, right? Because we have Morgan, Jeffrey, Cynthia, and Mercedes. Is that it? Maybe it is only 4 women. Is it only 4 women? Yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm tripping. Okay, so we start this episode off. We have Tony meeting up with his sister is going to meet Morgan, right? Now, his sister, I like his sister. His sister feisty, okay? And Morgan, they get to talking, and Morgan starts talking about how, Tony, he got a lot of game with him, and that they might need to go to therapy because, they've been through a lot already in this process, and there's just some things that are happening that she feel like they need to talk to somebody about. The sister was like, therapy? She said, yeah, we just need to talk. She said, I don't know how I feel about therapy for people who dating. Like, who? And again, once again, the red flags are waving. Morgan, you should not need therapy to date somebody you just met 3 weeks ago or a month ago, however long. And I know that I get it, this process is intensive and all that other stuff. But let's be clear, ma'am. Therapy? Listen, y'all supposed to be in the honeymoon phase. Everything's supposed to be easy. Everything's supposed to be easy like Sunday morning. If you're working this hard, this early, it's a problem. And the sister pretty much felt that way. The sister was like, She was like, I mean, she seemed cool or whatever, but I really feel like that's a red flag. Like, therapy? And Tony said, yeah, he felt some kind of way about that too. He said it took him aback, took him off guard too, that she was talking about some therapy and stuff. So then we have Anthony took Cynthia to meet I believe it was his cousin. And he told his cousin, he said, I really like Cynthia, but my biggest concern with Cynthia is the father of her child. When I met him, things were a little intense, and I'm just not really feeling that. Like, I don't know, that was a whole lot for me. And Cynthia was like, look, I'm grown, I can handle my situation. Like, he's not gonna be an issue. He's not a problem. He's a little protective, but it is what it is. And I was like, I don't know, Cynthia, your baby daddy was coming off real aggressive. Okay, it was a lot. Like, that would have turned a lot of people off. It really almost made me feel like is he trying to keep the path clear for him to come back home? I don't know, because he was really doing a whole lot. Okay. So then we have Andre. Andre took Cynthia and Jeffrey to meet his sister-in-law and his niece. And I feel like they were just being mean just to be mean. I mean, both of them had concerns about the fact that Andre was dating somebody with children. Like, they had an issue when Cynthia showed up with 2 kids until Jeffrey showed up with 3. But then Cynthia was like, well, look, I got 2 master's degrees. I have 2 undergraduate degrees. I run my own business. Like, yes, I have kids, but I'm also bringing something else to the table. I also have something else to bring to the table. And Jeffrey was just sitting there like, well, I mean, I think that I'm just a great woman. And I just think I bring that to the table, that I'm just a great, great woman. Girl, okay. The sister also felt like it was a bit of a concern that the fathers are not there. She was like, yeah, because now you're not in a co-parenting situation. You're a single parent, which puts a lot of pressure on Andre. Even more pressure because, there's never, like, this, it's not a co-parenting situation, Which there is a difference between being in a co-parenting situation and you just being a 100% single parent, right? So I don't feel like, so the sisters, now his niece said that she liked Cynthia. The sister was like, I ain't really feeling either one of them. I think she just doesn't want him to date anybody with children. But she was coming off a little rude. I felt like she was doing a lot, doing a little bit much. Now Mark Anthony, he said, my two top connections are Jeffrey and Mercedes, but Jeffrey been acting a little distant since we got back from the house, so I need to talk to her before I introduce her to my family, because ain't no need me introducing her if it ain't flowing the way I feel like it need to be flowing. So they went out on a date one-on-one, and Jeffrey told him, she said, look, you're a really nice guy, but at this point I really want to put all my energy into my connection with Andre, and Jeffrey was like, dang, Mark Anthony was like, well, dang, I came into this process being very adamant that I didn't want to date anybody that had kids, and then she kind of left me open to the possibility just for us to kind of be where we are now. But he said, well, I appreciate her telling me, so then he had Mercedes meet his cousin via Zoom, and of course that went well until the cousin was like, well, Mark Anthony's from New York. How would you feel if, because he's thinking about moving back up here, how would you feel about a long distance or even relocating? And Mercedes was like, hold up. Like, long distance relationships are hard. And yes, I have an unconventional type of job and I can make it happen, but that's definitely something that me and Mark Anthony need to talk about, because that kind of, that, I ain't gonna lie, that kind of threw me off a little bit. Like, that kind of made me really feel some kind of way about the situation, right? So then we had Anthony took Cynthia on a romantic date down to the beach. Now listen, ultimately I think Cynthia is really feeling Andre more than Anthony. I think she likes Anthony, and I think she likes Anthony a lot, but it's something about Andre that she's, I think, really trying to make it happen. But they had a nice date. He rubbed her feet and he had roses and champagne, and it was cool, and it was very romantical, Now, Tony took Morgan out because he said, me and her need to talk because I have some concerns, because she talking about therapy and stuff, and that kind of threw me off, and it threw my sister off, and I'm kind of trying to figure out where she coming from with this whole therapy situation. Child. She said, well, do you really want me to put it out there? She said, well, I have some issues. You put me through a lot, and I don't think you understand how serious it is that you put me through. She said, honestly, I'm still feeling some kind of way about your entanglement with Natasha. Now, I had to go through my mental Rolodex, and I had to be like, who the hell is Natasha? Child, Natasha was the first one eliminated. The lawyer, that poor thing, hair got caught in the rain that first day, and they had puffed out and everything. And child, she got eliminated on the first day. So Tony was like, well, I told you about that, and why you got to bring that up? And then Morgan was being real nasty and catty, talking about she was low-hanging fruit, and she wasn't even pretty, and why would you this? And I'm going to listen, I've had a lot of things to say about Tony over these last couple of weeks, but I'm going to say this, I respect Tony, because Tony stopped her and was like, hold up, we're not going to do that. Like, Natasha's a really nice lady, we're not going to disrespect her, like, I'm not going to do that. And Morgan was like, you shouldn't be defending her, don't be defending her. And he was like, okay, we're going to stop talking, well, let's just stop talking about her altogether, okay? Let's get back to me and you. And I can appreciate that, because Morgan, you were being very rude. Now, to Morgan's defense, and I'm going to go ahead and read it. To Morgan's defense, she did post a public apology today. Well, I think I saw it yesterday. She did post a public apology. So to her defense, and I'm going to go ahead and read it so that everybody know what she had to say. So Morgan did apologize to Natasha, and she said the following: the way I spoke about another woman on national TV is uncalled for, distasteful, and unacceptable. And quite frankly, I'm ashamed that I allowed this show, this process, people, my emotions, all of these factors to get in the way of the person I know myself to be. I don't know who that woman on your TV screen was on Friday, but I assure you that that wasn't me. Natasha, I can only imagine what my harsh words may have done to you For that, I am truly sorry. You didn't deserve that from me. In due time, you'll discover that I have paid my karma in full, and I am taking the necessary steps to ensure this will never happen again. God, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I know I look nothing like the woman of God you've called me to be. I promise to get back in my closet and try again. Natasha, I'm truly sorry for the hurt and pain that I have caused you. I pray that one day you can find it in your heart to forgive me. I think that was very big of her, and I mean, I can only respect that, right? Now, little birdie told me that some things went down leading up to the reunion as it relates to some of these final couples. So when she says that my karma is coming, you'll see soon, I think we're going to find out some other stuff that went down with Mr. Tony and Miss Morgan. But who would be surprised? I know I'm not, right? So they go back to the men's lounge, and basically it boils down to Andre. Andre is the only person that has two connections. Anthony is locked in on Cynthia. Mark Anthony is locked in on Mercedes. Tony's locked in on Morgan. But Andre is between Jeffrey and Cynthia. And honestly, at this point, we really just need Andre to just choose Jeffrey so that Anthony can be with Cynthia and we can just have our final and just make it a final for a couple situation. But Tommy tells Andre that he has to tell one of these ladies that she's not ready to love. So we see him going on a date with Cynthia, and Cynthia was like, I don't know if this is an elimination day or what. Now, Cynthia, let me say this. Cynthia, I have loved you this whole season. I have felt that you have carried yourself as a queen this whole season, and you have carried yourself with respect. I did not like this date for you. I felt like you were begging him to choose you. And I don't like that. Either he's going to choose you or he's not. But it must have worked, because at the end of the day, even though he was there to eliminate Cynthia, he said, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. And I mean, of course, it's all production, child. They're going to make it real dramatical for next week. Because if not, then what will we have to hold on to for next week? Because the rest of the couples are locked in. You know what I mean? Like, Andre's the only, I don't know. So we'll see what happens next week. It's the finale. Hallelujah. And then we'll see who ends up with who. And then, of course, we're going to have the reunion, child. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.